So the Jets got meaningful games in December, and now we have one pretty meaningless game in January to end the year. I know there's meaning for the Dolphins and the playoffs. For the Jets, it's pretty much a meaningless football game. So I think they should take advantage of that and experiment with some young players that I want to see on the field and maybe in some different roles. Here's 5 things I want to see the Jets do in Miami. Number 1, Bryce Huff. I'm told just a situational edge rusher. Doesn't have the prototypical size, the length to be like anything close to a full-time defensive end in this wide 9. Maybe that's true. Maybe Bryce Huff is just going to be a third down dude the rest of his career. Let me see it. Let me see it for a game. Give him 70% of the snaps, play him on first and second down, and let me see Bryce Huff being the reason why we can't stop the run. Let me see that. Okay, because I think Bryce Huff might be one of these dudes like a Hassan Reddick type of guy who never has that prototypical build for the position, but is just too damn good to keep off the field. And is Bryce Huff ever going to be the run defender that JFM or Jermaine Johnson or Michael Clemens are? No. But could there be a trade-off of a little bit worse against a run, but then you're getting strip sacks and pressures and it's forcing turnovers and ending possessions? Yes. Let me see Bryce Huff play him full-time, see if that could be a potential role that he could develop into in the future. Now, number 2, Jamion Sherwood, who has looked pretty good spotting C.J. Mosley here and there this season. He's also a really good special teamer, and I think that he is one of these, that phrase, a pipeline to C.J. Mosley, who's going to be here for at least 1 more year, maybe 2 more years, and then maybe eventually we have Sherwood to replace him. But I want to see Jamion Sherwood, if they're going to play C.J., I want to maybe see Jamion Sherwood play Quincy's spot. Can he play outside linebacker? Because we know CJ is going to be here next year, but Quincy Williams and Quan Alexander are both pending free agents. So can Sherwood get a little rub playing next to CJ Mosley? And then maybe if we end up losing one of those 2 guys, then we have a possible starter in Jamion Sherwood at a different linebacker position. Now, I know his strength is in coverage. It's tackling. Quincy Williams' strength isn't coverage either, and he was a starter. So I'd like to see it. Throw it out there for a game. You're not going to get all your answers in one game, but hey, why not? And at least it's not like preseason because you're going against starters for the most part. I know Miami has a backup quarterback, but they're actually trying to win the game. So you're going to be able to get more evaluation than you would in just a preseason game where nobody's actually running their schemes or anything like that. Number 3, safeties. Jordan Whitehead, LaMarcus Joyner, you can sit down. Joyner's actually hurt for the year anyway. I would like to see Tony Adams and Ashton Davis start at safety. I'm really interested in Tony Adams. Ashton Davis, he's been here 3 years. I think he's just going to be a career backup and special teamer. 3rd-round pick, not the end of the world. Tony Adams, undrafted free agent safety, a freak athlete, like a bonkers, near 10 out of 10 relative athletic score. And he had a lot of versatility coming out of college. He played the nickel slot. When you see him, he's shown some good coverage ability, but he's been in very limited snaps. So I want to see Tony Adams do that. I think he's going to be a really valuable roster spot. I think even if he's not our starting free safety, I think he could back up safety. He could back up nickel corner and play special teams. That is a home run roster spot for a guy who went undrafted. Next, tight end. Jeremy Rucker. Can we see Jeremy Rucker? Is Jeremy Rucker on the Jets? What number does Jeremy Rucker wear? I don't even know off the top of my head. He should play. He's got to be above Kenny Yeboah on the depth chart next year. I mean, come on. We're willing to be patient. Tight end has a high learning curve, more than other positions, and we had 2 solid guys, Conklin veterans and Uzama veterans there. So no surprise he didn't get reps over those 2 guys. But at the same time, it's like, man, we had other needs of, a linebacker could have played right away, a safety that could have played right away, a defensive tackle that could have played right away, an offensive lineman. Of course, we needed a whole bunch of those. So Jeremy Rucker, he's got to be playing on this football team next year. Let's start that right now. And then number 5, not necessarily a rookie or a guy who doesn't play a lot, but Elijah Moore. Can we throw him the ball? Can we give him the ball? Because when I'm looking at this wide receiver room heading into next year, I'm like, okay, if Corey Davis is cut, we have a number 1 in Garrett Wilson, stud, certified, stamped, number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. After that, I don't know. Denzel Mims, is he a 4? Braxton Berrios, I mean, he forgot how to ball this year. What was going on with that? Jeff Smith is just a special teamer. And then, the biggest question to me is like, can Elijah Moore be your number 2 wide receiver in terms of volume and production out of the slot? Because his rookie year, he looked like he could do that. I'm like, we have a legitimate, number 2 weapon. For a stretch of the season, he played like a number 1. If we could find that Elijah Moore, and you have Garrett Wilson, then you could throw out a Denzel Mims or a mid-level free agent or, a third, fourth round pick at your Z wide receiver. But if Elijah Moore isn't going to be that, then I don't know. You might have to look into trying to keep Corey Davis or you're spending some money or high. Then wide receiver becomes a need. It becomes a need. And maybe you can't get that answer in one game, but it would make me feel a lot better if Elijah Moore went out there and had one of those games like the last time he played the Dolphins with Flacco when he had one of the best games of his career. That would make me feel a lot better about this wide receiver room heading into 2023. Those are 5 things I want the Jets to do in this football game. Subscribe if you're new. And hey, let's talk about Robert Saleh, his job security. He ain't going anywhere. I agree with that. Go Jets.